Now, did you know you do not have to use other people's language material? You don't have to use textbooks, you don't have to use courses, you don't have to do anything. One of the things that I've done a lot myself when I've been learning different languages is actually to create my own material. And the big benefit of creating your own material is that you get to decide what you study. Like it's one of the most important concepts in language learning that you do what you're most interested in, right? So if you are most interested in oceanography, then that's something that in your own mother tongue you love, then it makes all the sense in the world for you to actually learn about oceanography in the language that you're learning. Because even though it might be hard, you're not going to care because you're so motivated by the subject matter that that you'll carry on and you'll use that material to learn. So follow your interests is a fantastic guiding principle, and making your own language material is the best way to do that. So I mean, I've been doing this for a long time, and I remember doing this first of all when I was in Japan, and I had to catch the train every day because in Japan, like, life functions on the rail. You have. I remember having 90-minute commutes across Tokyo, sometimes 2 hours each way across Tokyo to get to work. It was crazy. But whilst I was on those trains, I got to listen to tons of Japanese because they have incessant announcements on the rail in Japan telling you everything, like what train is coming, what platform, because it's a complicated rail system. So I used to get my phone out. This was back in the day when phones were not very good at recording, but it was good enough. I used to press the record button and record these train announcements, and then later on I get my tutor or my language partner to actually listen to the recording and write down word for word, transcribe what had been said in these announcements. And then I would sit down, I'd read through it, and what happens. And also, I'm not saying here that I was massively interested in train announcements because that's not the case. But it was something that I had to deal with every day, so it was of interest in the sense that it was practical, right? But so what I do is I'd then be able to see on paper everything that I'd been listening to every day, multiple times a day, and I would say, okay, well, I kind of know what it means because I've been following these instructions somehow. But now I get to look and I get to see the vocabulary. I get to see those few words I didn't catch. I get to see the way that the grammar is put together. I get to see like full on Japanese grammar being used to tell me what to do and where to go, how to direct myself around the train network. Um, and so you start to form connections between the things that you hear and things that you see. Later on, when I started learning Cantonese, one of the things I did was to I hired a freelancer to transcribe an entire episode of a TV series that I really liked. I can't remember what the name was now, but the guy literally watched this TV series and he wrote down word for word in Cantonese what was said. Now, what that meant was then I could not only listen to and watch this TV series, but I could also read along with what was being said, which meant I could then pause the TV show and then stop and rewind and then go back and read what had been written. And that would be really helpful just to kind of analyze the language, catch the things that I had missed. Just when you read something as well as see it, when you read something as well as hear it, that it all gets deeper, it all gets absorbed more deeply. And the great thing about all of this stuff was that I was following my interests, right? So the TV series I really liked, the train announcements. They were interesting in the sense that they were super useful. And then recently I kind of took this to its extreme when I created Conversations, which is my listening material for intermediate learners. And that was like the ultimate development of this material creation because I thought to myself, right, well, what do I always get stuck with? It is listening comprehension around that intermediate level. Like I just have trouble getting used to understanding native speakers, so why don't I create something that is interesting, story-based, that is material that I like that can help me train my ear in all these different languages. And so I actually spent a whole year creating this material because it's what I wanted, and I kind of thought, well, if I want it, then other people probably do too. Don't know whether that's true or not, but people seem to like it. And so my message is like, you can create your own stuff. Like, don't be, especially if you're learning a language like Cantonese or Arabic, where you've got these kind of dialects which don't have a lot of materials, or you're learning an endangered language or minority language that doesn't have a lot of its own material. Make your own, because although it sounds like a lot of hard work, it is so rewarding, especially if you then share that with other people You know, the amount of like thank you notes I've got from the material that I've made is really, boy, it's surprising. I guess in a way it's surprising, in a way it's not, because people just love finding useful material. So I would set you a little challenge. You know, think like, okay, you are almost certainly you're not completely satisfied with all the material that you've got, that you've been studying with. Nobody ever is. So think to yourself, what would I really love to have? What would be really useful for me right now? What would it look like? What topics is it on? Is it listening? Is it reading? Is it a combination of the two? Just think about it. Dream for a minute, and then think to yourself, could I create this? So I guarantee you could, and not only would it be a load of fun, but you'd also learn a lot about the language in the process, because you'd be obviously working with it. So that's my challenge for you. Good luck. See you in the next video.